IRENA is actively working with its more than 170 member countries through multiple fronts to promote the adoption and spreading out renewable energy globally. So let me pick 2 or 3 important initiatives out of several ones we are covering globally in all fronts of renewable energy. The one very important the one that's mostly needed now is regarding how can we help the countries create a pipeline of bankable projects. Because we know the challenge very well that the access to finance is not the key issue or the key challenge to promote the adoption of renewable energy globally, but it's more about how can we find a bankable project or a project that attracts investors, mainly from private sector, given the fact that more than 75% of global investment in renewable energy in the past decade coming from private sector. So creating a project that's really provide reasonable margin of profit, as well as sound environmental and social and governance, and what we call it bankable project, is very rare. Just to give you a very important shocking number here, that each 50 project application we receive under this platform we hardly get one. CIB and ITAF standing for Climate Investment Platform, which is an initiative jointly provided by GCF, Green Climate Fund, United Nations Development Program, Sustainable Energy for All, and IRENA, which we host the secretariat. The other important initiative under this one is called ITAF, standing for Energy Transition Accelerator Financing Platform, that IRENA convened 15 banks, including World Bank, Islamic Development Bank, OPEC Fund, Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, Inter-American Development Bank. I don't want to count the 15 one. We aim to provide a soft pledge financing of $1 billion. Because of the success of this initiative, we basically attracted $4.15 billion of investment to invest in renewable energy through private or public sector. And while we focus on developing an emerging economy, we also support developed economies as long as we receive a bankable project. To this moment, we basically succeeded to financially close more than 1 megawatt of solar projects. Just to highlight one important issue here, that IRENA is not a bank, but we facilitate through Project Facilitation and Support Division of IRENA development of bankable projects among all these banks. While when it comes to financial transaction and fiscal transaction, the banks who are partner with us, including World Bank, as I just mentioned earlier, also cover these the financial transaction part of it. I have to say that for MENA region specifically, as the lowest region among the whole world region, I mean among Asia and others, they are the lowest regions that receiving investment globally. So we are always providing what we call it country-specific tailor-made support. So one of the very important initiative under this one that we currently creating, what we call it RETO, standing for Regional Energy Transition Outlook, to see what is the situation that all countries in comparison to each other to working and promoting the renewable energy projects, which is a matter of more of a statistical comparative analysis. Another important one for Morocco, since Morocco one of the most important leading country among Jordan and Egypt in MENA region, we are working with them to create what we call it an action plan for renewable energy deployment. And for this one, this is basically along with the fact that during COP28, we are the custodian as IRENA to follow how we help the countries for tripling renewable energy investment globally. This is specifically for Morocco. One final example here is basically that we are working with several countries to what we call it innovation to foster renewable energy transition. And this basically we are focusing on in North Africa, and basically the analysis come along all countries in North Africa with the financing and co-partnership with the European Commission. Several fronts. I would try to be very brief because you are asking very smart question. That number one, we had to work with the countries on reforming their energy subsidy, because the subsidy for power sector in MENA region is really one of the factors that does not or don't attract private sector investment, because these developers would like to see a reasonable profit margin, as I mentioned in my earlier question. So we are working with several countries upon their demand for making reform and to shift subsidy into more green technologies. The second and important issue actually along creating what we call it win-win situation partnership with several countries and creating what we call it innovative financing to attract foreign direct investment. And for this one, really, we are doing a very good example in Jordan, in Egypt, as well as in Morocco. The third and important issue, which is really a very important one, is that we are working with the countries on optimizing and integrating and modernizing their power transmission system, or what we call it power grids. And this is in order to allow these grids to attract and to receive more renewable energy, given the fact that renewable energy most of the time are fluctuating in terms of natural power supply. So we wanted to make sure that basically this kind of modern network or modernized network attract more investment and also increase the green energy transition share. I have three key messages here I would like to convey by joining this important event. Number one is that the interconnectivity among MENA countries is key and will provide a lot of added value, like for example, the connection through Egypt, what we call it GCC, Egypt to Europe interconnection. This is very important. The second and important message is about how basically there is a need to maximize and amplify the innovation in policy and finance within renewable energy projects. This is really key. And here we are doing a lot of projects on tailor-made technical assistance to the countries globally. And my final message is basically MENA, with its potential, needs to be an epic center for global energy transition in order to lead basically the other region, given the fact that it's a geographical proximity to the European Commission and to European Union.